Hey everyone, welcome back to bageltcg. Today we're going to be doing kind of a fun deck guide for a deck I've been brewing around with. It's definitely not the most competitive deck or the most optimized deck, but it looks like a lot of fun to me, and that's what I really think Blitz is about. This is a DUSKBLADE deck for BRIAR. Basically, I really want to play DUSKBLADE still, and Blitz is the only place to do that, and I really want to play a BRIAR deck, but I'm not really interested in playing her in CC, where I'm mostly playing Bravo right now. I also play CC a lot more competitively, and I think Blitz is kind of meant to be the for fun format in a lot of ways. So those are basically my two goals: make a DUSKBLADE deck that is with BRIAR. This is kind of what I came to. It's called Zero Cost BRIAR. It really wants to just play a bunch of zero cost cards. The problem I was running into when I was brewing the deck was I never had quite enough resources to double non-attack action to get my Embodiment of Lightning token from BRIAR, then use an attack action and attack with DUSKBLADE. And I also wanted to keep a card in hand to be able to block with using my Embodiment of Earth, right? That's a lot of stuff to do. I needed 3 cards, 2 non-attacks and an attack, and then I also wanted something to block with, and I wanted something to pitch. So basically I needed 5 cards, and it wasn't really gonna work. So it ended up working best with just zero cost cards. So pretty much every card in the deck is zero cost except for Electrify, which replaces itself. And the goal of the deck is to just play 2 of our zero cost cards, pitch 1 card, and we really only need to pitch that card to be able to pay for the DUSKBLADE. So we're running a lot of reds here because it is a zero cost deck. We're running only 10 blues and 3 yellows, so it's a very red heavy deck. And we're just really hoping to not run into any Frostbite because this deck is not fond of Frostbite, although it can function through it if we get enough blues in our hands, because the Frostbite actually makes our cards just kind of cost normal values. So it's kind of just trying to play fun things. A lot of zero cost, so playing some, Arcanic Shockwave, Ball Lightning is really good in this deck. Our Entwined Lightnings and Lightning Surge are 0 for 4s. So are Exude Confidence, Scar for Scar, Snatch. So we're playing a lot of 0 for 4s. Yinti Yanti is kind of a funny card, right? It's a 0 for 3, but if you have an aura, it has +1 attack. It also has +1 defense if you have an aura. So if you have an Embodiment of Earth already, it'll be a 0 for 4. Or if you have an Embodiment of Earth, it'll also be block 3. So it's kind of a fun card in this deck where you're getting auras off of your hero. It's pretty fun. I'm just going to go through and talk about these reds real quick. So we're playing 2 Arcanic Shockwave. It's a 0 for 4, blocks for 3. And if you fuse it with a lightning card, it will deal an arcane damage, which is fine. That's nice. It'll be a 0 for 5, basically. If you can fuse it, it's fine if you can't. Ball Lightning is a really powerful card. We play the reds here because the reds, the best one, but we could play others maybe. And it's a 0 for 3 with Go Again, but it also makes your cards deal 1 more damage, which works with, like, for example, our next card, Bramble Spark, which makes our next attack deal 1 arcane damage. So if we play a Bramble Spark into a Ball Lightning, it'll actually be 2 arcane damage because it gives that arcane damage to the Ball Lightning itself. So that's a nice combo there, and a somewhat common-ish combo. We do the same thing with Flicker Wisp here, where if we fuse Flicker Wisp, it'll make our effects deal that much arcane damage +1, which will be nice with Bramble Spark as well. So we can do some fun things with Ball Lightning, but for the most part, it's just a card where if we have it, we don't have to double non-attack action because it has natural Go Again, which is really nice. If we don't have to play 2 non-attack actions, that saves us more cards for arsenaling and blocking and stuff like that. So ideally, we'd like to just do 1 non-attack action and then an attack action and then DUSKBLADE. That's really our goal. But if we have to, we can do 2. That's what this deck's made to be able to do. It's kind of been able to pivot based on your hands, how much you can block, right? So if we have a Ball Lightning, or if we have a Scar for Scar, or Entwine Lightning, or Lightning Surge and Arsenal, there's a lot of ways to have attacks with Go Again. If we have a Go Again attack, then we can block more, basically, which is good. We like blocking as well. This deck can kind of be mid-range in that area. We're playing Electrify as our only card that costs anything, because if you play it from Arsenal, it will draw a card, which basically replaces itself. So if you pitch a blue and you Electrify, it counts as a non-attack action for the turn, and it replaces itself. So you pretty much only want to Arsenal these and play them from Arsenal. It's pretty bad if you're not playing it from Arsenal, but when you do play it from Arsenal, it's actually quite a good card. So Electrify is our only card that costs not 0 in this deck. Next up, we have Enlightened Strike, which is a really good 0-cost attack. Everyone knows Enlightened Strike's a good 0-cost attack, and it's great in this deck. It has a lot of modes that are useful. If you need to give it Go Again, you can give it Go Again, but if you've already played 2 non-attacks that turn, you can give it +2, or you can draw a card to keep going more wide if you want, or if you need a card to Arsenal. So it can do a lot of things, and Enlightened Strike's pretty flexible. I think it's kind of going down in value in a lot of decks. It's not as useful in a lot of decks, but for our deck that wants to be 0 cost pretty much only, it's great. We have Entwined Lightning, which is a 0 for 4, and sometimes we can fuse it, and the times that we can fuse it, it's even better. We only run, 8 lightning cards? Or 9 with Pulse of Candlehold lightning cards. I take that back. We run 11. We run 11 lightning cards. That's actually not that bad. So it can be fused somewhat often, but if it's not being fused, it's not the end of the world, because we can use an embodiment of lightning to give it Go Again. We're also playing Exude Confidence, Scar for Scar, Snatch, and Lightning Surge, all also 0 for 4 attacks that can either get Go Again or have good on-hit triggers, etc. We're playing Inti Yanti, I talked about earlier. We're playing Red Plunder Run. It's just so good. Red Plunder Run's so good. It's definitely worth playing in this deck. We're playing Flicker Wisp. It's a 0 cost with Go Again. It's also a yellow pitch, which is fine, because in this deck you really only need 1 pitch, and we're fine pitching a red sometimes because we just need 1 for Duskblade. We're playing Gorganian Tome. It's kind of a free non-attack because it just draws a new card. Weverse here, just give our next attack some more extra oomph, and we're playing Weave Lightning for the same thing. We're playing the blues here because we need some amount of blues in our deck. We're also playing Force of Nature, which we're not really planning to fuse too often, but it can do some fun stuff, like with the Inti Yanti, for example, or if we're getting plus attack from Plunder Run or something like that, or Enlightened Strike, etc. So Force of Nature can sometimes do good stuff, but for the most part, it's a 0 cost blue with Go Again and blocks for 3. So if you have 1 embodiment of Earth Out even, it's a block for 4. So it's a pretty solid card just in general. And then the classic Pulse of Candlehold. Honestly, the deck's pretty cheap overall if you don't count equipment. I think the only expensive card in the main deck really is Enlightened Strike. I do have a budget version as well, which isn't too different. We'll show that budget version real quick, and then we'll look at possible play patterns. So this is the budget version. Like I said, I think I only switched out the 2 Enlightened Strike here in the Gorganian Tome for 2 Rites of Lightning and 1 blue Ball Lightning. So just from some more 4-cost attacks, or 4-power attacks. This one does cost 1, but it can give itself Go Again if you fuse it, and it deals its arcane damage successfully, so that's pretty nice. And Ball Lightning is just a good card, so having the blue is not bad. Mostly taking out the equipment, although most of the equipment is honestly not necessary. I think the only thing that we're kind of sad about losing maybe is Arcanite Skullcap, because it just blocks well, but we probably mostly play Aether Ironweave anyways. We play this Crown of Dichotomy in place of Arcanite Skullcap. We play Mark of Lightning here in place of Shock Charmers. Shock Charmers are fun because if we have extra resources, we can pump them into extra damage. These could also and should probably be a Grasp of Lightning or a Grasp of the Arcanite as well. And we're playing Mark of Lightning instead of those, though. This can do some fun stuff with Ball Lightning. We're playing the Null Runes here, so we can have 3 Null Rune, and then we're playing Snapdragon Scalers. Don't think this deck is too much at all. We can find out here together. Let's find out how much this deck is, the budget one. Let's see, what do you guys think it's gonna be? BRIAR's not a card. Silly me. I guess it's like 30 bucks? $50. Because it has $13 in shipping. So it's probably not what it's actually gonna be. It doesn't optimize it very fast now, does it? $41. So you can play this deck for $41. It's really fun, and I don't know, I think it looks like a fun deck to play. That's really what Blitz is about to me, is just playing decks that are fun. It's not the most competitive format. I mean, they do have skirmishes, but even those aren't high-level competitive events, really. So I think Blitz should be like kind of your kitchen table format, if you will. It's also great for new players to learn the game with smaller decks, of course. So this is an example hand. You know, you can do quite a few things here. So we have our 2 non-attack actions that we're always playing. So this is going to give our next Earth or Elemental attack +3 and 1 damage, right? So probably going to double do that. Then we're going to play this Entwine Lightning. So it'll be for 7 with 1 Arcane. And then we can just pitch this Snatch and swing with our Duskblade. So like I said, we're fine pitching our reds here. This hand, we can do a few things here. I'd like to Arsenal this Electrify. Yeah, I think we can. No, we can't give this go again on its own. So we're either double playing this or we're pitching this. We're probably going to pitch Force of Nature, Plunder Run, Electrify, Arcanic Shockwave. It'll have go again. We'll draw a card. And we'll probably Arsenal this because we'll have an extra resource of Duskblade. That's not the strongest hand, really. Let's do another one here. This hand doesn't have attacks. That's not what you usually want to see. We're hoping to have at least 1 attack every hand, so that's not ideal. Here we can Weave Earth into Plunder Run and then Entwine Lightning. It'll be for 5. We can maybe draw a card off of that with there's a Lightning Surge, and then we can Arsenal Lightning Surge, pitch this, and Duskblade. This hand's not bad at all, actually. Quite a few things we can do here. We're not able to fuse these. We can pitch one of the Bramble Sparks. We can Force of Nature, and oh, we do need a card to tuck here, actually, huh? Silly and Lightning Strike. We need a card to tuck for you. What are we tucking? We could do draw a card, though, because it'll have go again anyways. So we're just going to pitch whatever we draw. It's probably fine to tuck. It's probably fine to tuck this Force of Nature. So let's double Bramble Spark. And then we'll Enlighten Strike tucking Force of Nature, draw a card off of Enlighten Strike, and then we'll pitch that to swing with Duskblade. As you can see, it has some pretty linear lines. It's pretty fun to play, just trying to figure out how to use your 0-cost hand in different ways. And it's probably not the strongest deck. I just think it's really fun, and I think being able to actually use a banned card, well, banned in Classic Constructed, is going to be fun as well. So I'm going to be bringing this to my Blitz events. At least something similar like this. I'm not really sure where BRIAR is supposed to be. BRIAR is kind of a weird deck that wants to do 2 different things. Like, her embodiment of Earth tokens make her want to block, but her embodiment of Lightning tokens make her want to go just full aggro. I'm not really sure where BRIAR is supposed to be, so this is where I've ended up. But I would love to see your BRIAR decks in the comments, and I would also like to know what you think about the deck. You know, I think Blitz is a fun format where you can play stuff like this. How have you enjoyed Blitz? What are you playing in CC? I'm playing Bravo in CC right now and really enjoying it, and I think he's in a good spot. I think he's one of the 3 strongest decks. And I'll probably do an updated tier list in a week or 2 because I think the format's already adapting pretty quickly. Yeah, thanks y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time.